I was standing outside a house I'd never seen before, staring through a window at a scene that hollowed me out in an instant. My wife with someone else. But that moment wasn't the one that broke me. The real blow landed hours later. It came quietly. Just a few papers, a few signatures, a date I'd never noticed. And suddenly the story of my life twisted into something unrecognizable. 15 years of scraping by. 15 years of stretching every paycheck until it screamed. 15 years of me breaking myself open for a family that I thought needed saving. And her, she just watched. Calm, comfortable, almost practiced. I remember sitting at the kitchen table, the truth spreading across the wood like a stain. Everything I thought we were fighting for, everything I thought we didn't have, it was never real, not the way I understood it. That was the part that ruined me. Not the window, not the man, but realizing just how long she'd let me live in a story she never bothered to correct. My name is Benjamin Carter. I'm 73 years old now, and this is the story that changed everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and the woman I called my wife. But before I get into it, do me a favor. If you've ever trusted someone with your whole heart only to find out they were playing you the entire time, hit that like button. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. It helps me know I'm not alone in this. And subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this, because Lord knows life has taught me plenty. Now, let me take you back. Back to when I was young. Back to when I still believed in people. I met Lily Washington in the summer of 1975. I was 23 years old, fresh out of trade school, trying to make something of myself with nothing but a toolbox and a dream. She was working at her aunt's restaurant on Malcolm X Boulevard, carrying plates with grace I'd never seen before. Her skin was smooth like honey, and when she smiled, man, the whole room got brighter. I remember the first time I walked into that restaurant. I was there to fix a busted pipe under the sink, and there she was, moving between tables like she was dancing. I dropped my wrench, actually dropped it. It clattered on that old tile floor, and she turned around and looked at me, and I swear to God, I forgot my own name for a second. "You all right there?" she asked, and her voice was soft, almost musical. "Yes, ma'am," I said, picking up my wrench, feeling like a fool. Just here to fix the pipes." She smiled, and that was it. That was the moment I knew I was in trouble. I spent 3 hours on a job that should have taken 45 minutes. I kept finding things that needed checking, just so I could stay longer. Lily would walk by and I'd catch her scent, something sweet like vanilla and cinnamon, and I'd lose my train of thought completely. When I finally finished, she brought me a glass of sweet tea without me even asking. "On the house," she said. "You worked hard." I took that glass and our fingers touched for just a second. "Thank you, Miss Lily," she said. "Just Lily." "Well, just Lily," I said, trying to be smooth. "My name's Benjamin, and if you ever need anything fixed, you just call me." She laughed, and it sounded like music. I came back to that restaurant every week for 2 months, always finding some reason to stop by. Sometimes I'd order food. Sometimes I'd just walk past and wave through the window. Lily started saving me a seat at the counter, and we talked during her breaks. She told me about growing up in Alabama, about moving north with her aunt after her parents passed. She told me about her dreams of having a family, a real home, something stable. "I'm tired of running," she told me one evening as the sun set through the restaurant windows. "I just want peace, a good man, some kids, a place to call mine." "I can give you that," I said before I could stop myself. "I mean, I'm not rich or nothing, but I'm hardworking, I'm honest, and if you gave me a chance, Lily, I'd spend every day trying to make you happy." She looked at me for a long time, her dark eyes searching mine. "All right then, Benjamin Carter," she said softly. "Let's see what you got." We got married 6 months later in a small church ceremony. I borrowed a suit from my cousin. Lily wore a simple white dress she'd sewn herself. We didn't have much, but we had each other, and back then, that felt like everything. We moved into a small apartment on the south side. 1 bedroom, kitchen so small you could barely turn around in it, but it was ours. I worked 6 days a week, taking any plumbing job I could find. Lily got a job at a department store downtown. We'd come home tired, eat dinner on our little card table, and fall asleep in each other's arms. Those first years were hard, but they were good. real good. In 1977, Lily told me she was pregnant. I remember the day like it was yesterday. I'd just come home from fixing a water heater, covered in grime and sweat, and she was sitting on our worn-out couch with tears running down her face. "Baby, what's wrong?" I rushed over, wiping my dirty hands on my pants. She looked up at me and smiled through the tears. "Nothing's wrong, Ben. Nothing's wrong at all. We're having a baby." I dropped to my knees right there, put my ear against her belly. "You hear that, little one?" I whispered. "Your daddy's gonna work harder than ever now, gonna give you everything I never had." Our son James was born that December. He came out screaming, fists balled up, ready to fight the world. I held him in my arms and made him a promise. He'd never go hungry. He'd never feel less than anybody. I'd break my back before I'd let him struggle like I did. 2 years later, Lily had our daughter, Grace. She was quieter than her brother, with eyes that seemed to see right through you. She'd look at me and I'd melt, completely melt. But babies are expensive, real expensive. The apartment got too small and I was working myself to death trying to keep up with bills. I was taking jobs from sunrise to midnight, coming home smelling like sewage and copper pipes, falling into bed too tired to even kiss my wife goodnight. That's when Lily sat me down one evening. "Ben," she said, "I found us a house." I looked up from the bills I was sorting. "Baby, we can't afford a house." "It's a rental," she said quickly. "But it's perfect. 3 bedrooms, a little yard for the kids. The landlord says he'll work with us on the deposit." I was skeptical, but when she took me to see it the next day, I understood. It was a small brick house on Sycamore Street. Nothing fancy, but it had real rooms and a porch and a yard where James and Grace could play. It felt like a home. "How much?" I asked. $800 a month, Lily said. "I know it's a lot, but Ben, the kids need space. We need space. $800. It might as well have been 8,000. But I looked at my wife's hopeful face, at my kids running around the empty yard, and I couldn't say no. "All right," I said. "We'll make it work." We moved in a week later. I took on more jobs, started working 7 days a week. Lily went back to work part-time while her aunt watched the kids. We scraped by month after month, always just barely making rent. But we were happy. Or at least I thought we were. James grew up strong and smart. He helped me on jobs starting when he was 12, learning the trade, asking good questions. Grace was quieter, but she read everything she could get her hands on, always had her nose in a book. They both did well in school, stayed out of trouble, made us proud. I remember thinking, on James's high school graduation day, that I'd done it. I'd kept my promise. My kids were going to be all right. But there was something I didn't know, something I couldn't have known. The life I thought I was building, the sacrifices I thought I was making, the struggle I thought was bringing us together. It was all built on a lie so big, so complete, that when it finally came crashing down, it nearly killed me. The kids were 14 and 12 when things really started getting tight. James wanted to play football, needed equipment and fees. Grace wanted to take piano lessons. Every month there was something new, and every month I found myself looking at the bills, wondering how we'd make it. But Lily, she never complained. Never once. "We'll figure it out, baby," she'd say, rubbing my shoulders after I'd spent 16 hours snaking drains and replacing water heaters. "We always do." And we did. Somehow, we always did. I started taking jobs other plumbers wouldn't touch. Crawling under houses, dealing with backed up sewers, working in the cold until my fingers went numb. I'd come home smelling so bad, Lily would make me strip on the back porch before I could come inside. But she'd have hot water running for my bath, dinner waiting, a smile on her face like I was some kind of hero instead of just a tired man trying to keep his family afloat. "You work too hard," she'd say, washing my back while I soaked in the tub. "Somebody's got to," I'd reply. "That rent don't pay itself." Looking back now, I wonder if she felt guilty in those moments. Wonder if the words caught in her throat. But she never said nothing, just kept washing my back, kept smiling, kept playing the role of the struggling wife so perfectly I never suspected a thing. On weekends, when I wasn't working, we'd do family stuff. Go to the park, have cookouts in the backyard. James would throw the football with me until my arm was sore. Grace would sit on the porch reading while Lily and I weeded the garden we'd planted along the fence. "This is nice," Lily said one Saturday afternoon. We were sitting on the porch steps watching the kids play basketball in the driveway with some neighborhood friends. Just like this. This is all I ever wanted. I put my arm around her. We may not have much, but we got each other. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Yeah, she said softly, we got each other. I meant it with my whole heart. Don't know if she did. The neighborhood was good to us. Working class folks, mostly. People who knew struggle, who looked out for each other. Mrs. Patterson next door would bring over pound cake on Sundays. Mr. Jenkins across the street would let me borrow tools when mine broke. We had block parties in the summer. Everybody bringing food down, kids running wild until the streetlights came on. I thought we were just like everybody else. A family trying to make it, getting by on love and hard work. But Lily was different from other wives in ways I didn't see then. She never complained about money. Not really. When other women at church would talk about struggling with bills, Lily would nod along, but she never seemed as stressed as them. When the car broke down, she'd just say, "We'll figure it out." And somehow, we always did. I thought she was just strong, resilient, faithful. Turns out, it's easy to be calm when you're holding all the cards. There were little things, though, things that didn't make sense at the time but make perfect sense now, like how Lily never wanted me to talk to the landlord directly. "I'll handle it," she'd always say when something needed fixing. "You're too busy working. I'll call him." Or how she'd sometimes disappear on Saturday mornings that say she was going to the store or to visit her aunt and come back hours later with just a bag of groceries or nothing at all. "Where'd you go, baby?" I'd ask. I was worried. "Oh, you know," she'd say vaguely. "Just running around. Needed to clear my head." I never pushed it. Figured everybody needs time to themselves. Or the time James asked, "Mama, how come we never meet the landlord? Tommy's family knows their landlord. They come fix stuff sometimes." Lily had looked up from the dishes she was washing, and for just a second I saw something flash across her face. Fear? Anger? It was gone so fast I couldn't tell. "Our landlord's busy," she said. "He got lots of properties. That's why he keeps the rent low for us." "Low?" I'd laughed bitterly. $800 ain't low, baby. It's low for this neighborhood," she'd insisted. "You know what Mrs. Patterson pays next door? $1,200. We got a good deal, Ben. Let's not mess it up." I'd accepted that. Accepted all of it. Because why wouldn't I? You don't question your wife when she's been standing by you through everything. The years passed. James graduated high school, got a scholarship to a trade school upstate. Grace followed 2 years later, headed to college on a partial scholarship. We threw them both going-away parties in our backyard, and I remember feeling this surge of pride so strong it almost choked me. "We did it, Lily," I said, holding her close as we watched Grace load up her car. "We raised them right." "Yes, we did," she agreed, and there were tears in her eyes. Real tears. So maybe she did love them, at least. Maybe she loved them, if nothing else. After the kids left, the house felt empty. Too quiet. It was just me and Lily again, like in the early days, except we weren't young anymore. I was 55, my back hurt most mornings, my hands were rough and scarred from years of hard labor. And Lily still looked good. Real good. She'd always taken care of herself, but after the kids left, she seemed to take it up a notch, started buying nicer clothes, getting her hair done more often. "You deserve it," I'd tell her. "You've been wearing the same dresses for years. About time you got something new." "I found some things on sale," she'd say. "Clearance rack." But the clothes looked expensive to me. The shoes, too. I'd ask where she got the money, and she'd say she'd been saving little bits here and there from her part-time job at the department store. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? We settled into a routine. I still worked most days, though I was starting to slow down. My body couldn't handle what it used to. Lily worked her shifts at the store. We'd have dinner together most nights, watch TV, go to bed. It was comfortable. Predictable. Boring, maybe, but I thought boring was good. Boring meant stable. Boring meant we'd made it through the hard times and earned some peace. I had no idea the hard times were just beginning. It happened on a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were always slow for me, usually just 1 or 2 small jobs. I'd finished early, around 3 in the afternoon, and decided to come home and surprise Lily. Maybe take her out for an early dinner. something we hadn't done in years. When I pulled up to the house, I saw her getting into her car, dressed nice, real nice, a red dress I'd never seen before, heels, makeup done up. I rolled down my window. "Hey baby, where you headed? You look beautiful." She jumped a little like I'd scared her, then smiled. "Oh, hey Ben, I didn't expect you home so early. I got called in for an extra shift at the store." I looked at her dress. "They got you working the fancy department now?" She laughed, but it sounded forced. No, I felt like dressing up. You know how it is." I didn't, actually. Didn't know what it was to dress up for a shift at a department store. But I smiled anyway. "Well, you look gorgeous. Want me to make dinner for when you get back?" "That'd be nice," she said, already backing out of the driveway. "Might be late, though. You know how it is." I watched her drive away, and something felt off. Just a little thing, a tickle in the back of my mind, but I pushed it down. That night, she didn't get home until almost 11. I'd fallen asleep on the couch waiting for her, and when she came in, I woke up to the sound of her heels on the hardwood floor. "Sorry, baby," she whispered. "Inventory ran late. You should get to bed." She kissed my forehead, and I smelled perfume. Not her usual drugstore stuff, but something expensive, something heavy and sweet. "New perfume?" I asked sleepily. "Got it as a sample at work," she said quickly. "You like it?" "Yeah," I said. "Real nice." She smiled and headed upstairs. I stayed on the couch for a minute, that tickle in my mind getting stronger. But then I shook it off, got up, went to bed, told myself I was being paranoid. A few weeks later, it happened again. I came home early from a job that got canceled, and Lily's car wasn't in the driveway. She told me that morning she had the day off, was planning to clean the house and make her special pot roast for dinner. But the house was empty. No smell of cooking, nothing. I called her cell phone. It rang and rang, then went to voicemail. "Hey baby," I said after the beep. "Just checking on you. Call me back." She didn't call back for 3 hours. When she finally did, she sounded breathless. "Sorry, Ben. I ran into Rochelle at the store and we got to talking. You know how she is." Lost track of time completely. "That's all right," I said, though something in my gut twisted. "You coming home soon? I'm getting hungry." Yeah. Be there in 30 minutes. I'll pick up something on the way." She came home with Chinese takeout and that same expensive perfume smell. We ate in front of the TV and everything seemed normal, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I started paying more attention after that. Not spying exactly, but just noticing things. Like how Lily's phone was always face down on the table. How she'd sometimes step outside to take calls, saying it was her aunt or a friend from work. How she started taking longer to respond to simple questions, like she was thinking carefully about her answers. One Saturday morning, I was fixing the bathroom sink when I heard her on the phone in the bedroom. The door was cracked and her voice carried. "No, he doesn't know," she was saying quietly. "I told you, we have to be careful." I know. Yes, I miss you too. Soon, baby, soon." My hands froze on the pipe wrench. The water dripping from the faucet was the only sound besides my heartbeat pounding in my ears. When she came out of the bedroom, I was still kneeling there, staring at nothing. "Ben, you okay?" she asked. I looked up at her, wanted to ask who she was talking to, wanted to demand answers, but something stopped me. Fear, maybe, or maybe I just wasn't ready to know. "Yeah," I said, "just thinking about this pipe. It's more complicated than I thought." She smiled and walked past me, humming softly to herself. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay there next to her, listening to her breathing, wondering who she'd been talking to, wondering what soon meant, wondering if I was crazy for even questioning her. By morning, I'd almost convinced myself I'd misheard, that it was just a friend, that I was being paranoid and stupid and ungrateful for the woman who'd stood by me all these years. But the doubt was planted, and once you start doubting, it's hard to stop. It was a Thursday evening in October when Lily dropped the bomb. We were finishing dinner, leftover meatloaf and mashed potatoes, and she was pushing food around her plate like she had something on her mind. "Ben," she finally said, "I need to tell you something." My heart jumped. This was it, I thought. She's about to confess, about to tell me whatever she's been hiding. "What is it, baby?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Rochelle invited me on a trip," she said. "Just a girls' weekend. Up to Atlanta. There's this big sale at some outlets and she wants company for the drive. I stared at her. That's what she wanted to tell me? A shopping trip? Oh, I said, feeling both relieved and somehow more worried. When? This weekend. We'd leave Friday morning, be back Sunday night. I thought about the phone call I'd overheard. The "I miss you too," the "soon, baby, soon." That's fine, I heard myself say. You should go. You deserve a break. Her face lit up. Really? You don't mind? Course not. When's the last time you did something fun for yourself? She came around the table and hugged me tight. Thank you, Ben. You're the best husband a woman could ask for. I hugged her back, breathing in that expensive perfume, and wondered if I was the biggest fool in Atlanta. That Friday morning, I helped her load her suitcase into the car. She'd packed light, just one small bag. You sure that's enough? I asked. You're going shopping, ain't you? I'll buy a bigger bag there if I need it, she said with a laugh. Rochelle's got a big trunk. We'll manage. I kissed her goodbye on the front porch. You be safe now. Call me when you get there. I will, she promised. Love you. Love you too. I watched her drive away, then went inside to the empty house. Tried to do some paperwork, fix a leaky faucet I'd been putting off, but I couldn't focus. That bad feeling in my gut just kept growing. By Saturday afternoon, I couldn't take it anymore. I called her cell phone. It rang and rang and rang. Then went to voicemail. Hey, baby, I said, trying to sound casual. Just checking on you. Hope you're having fun. Call me back when you get a chance. An hour passed. Then 2. Then 4. Still no call back. I tried again at dinner time. Same thing. Straight to voicemail. Now I was worried. What if something had happened? What if they'd been in an accident? My mind was spinning with terrible possibilities. Then I remembered Rochelle's number was in the little phone book Lily kept by the landline. I'd met Rochelle a few times at church functions, seemed like a nice enough woman. I found the number and dialed, my hands shaking. Rochelle answered on the third ring. Hello? Hey, Rochelle, this is Ben. Benjamin Carter, Lily's husband. Oh, hey, Ben. What's going on? I'm trying to reach Lily, but her phone keeps going to voicemail. Just wanted to make sure y'all made it to Atlanta okay? There was a pause, a long pause. Atlanta? Rochelle said slowly. Ben, I'm not in Atlanta. I'm at home. What are you talking about? My blood ran cold. You're not with Lily on the shopping trip? Shopping trip? Rochelle sounded confused. Ben, I haven't talked to Lily in over a month. What's going on? Is everything okay? I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. The room was spinning. Ben? Rochelle's voice was concerned now. Ben, are you there? Yeah, I managed. Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. I must have gotten confused. My mistake. You sure everything's all right? Yeah. Everything's fine. Sorry to bother you. I hung up before she could ask any more questions. I stood there in my kitchen, holding the phone, feeling like the floor had opened up beneath me. Lily wasn't in Atlanta, wasn't with Rochelle, had lied right to my face, looked me in the eyes and lied, and I'd believed every word. I tried her phone again, voicemail, again, voicemail. Where was she? Who was she with? The man from the phone call? Had she been planning this for weeks? Months? I thought about confronting her, thought about calling the police, thought about driving around the city looking for her, though I had no idea where to start. But instead I did something that surprised even me. I waited. I went to bed that night in our empty house, and I waited. Waited for her to come home. Waited to see what lies she would tell. Waited to see if she would even remember to keep her story straight. Sunday night, around 9 o'clock, I heard her car in the driveway. I was sitting in the living room, lights off, just waiting in the dark. She came through the door, bags in her hands, humming to herself. Ben, she called out. Baby, you here? I turned on the lamp beside me. She jumped, startled. Lord, you scared me, she said with a laugh. Why are you sitting in the dark? Just thinking, I said. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. Flat, cold. She set down her bags and came over, kissed my forehead. I missed you. Had such a good time, though. Look what I got. She started pulling clothes out of the bags, showing me dresses and shoes. How was the drive? I asked casually. Oh, long, but me and Rochelle talked the whole way, so it went fast. Rochelle, I repeated. Y'all had a good time together? The best. She's so funny. We laughed the whole weekend. I nodded slowly. That's good. Real good. She kept talking about the outlets, the deals she'd found, the restaurants they tried. Every word was a lie, smooth as butter, delivered with a smile. I didn't say anything, just listened, watched her perform. When she finally went upstairs to unpack, I sat there in that living room, in that house I've been paying rent on for years, and I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her, not yet, not until I knew everything. Because if she could lie this easily, this completely, what else had she been lying about? The week after Lily came back from her trip was the longest week of my life. I went through the motions, went to work, came home, made conversation, ate dinner, watched TV, went to bed. But inside, I was screaming. Every time she touched me, I flinched. Every time she smiled, I wondered who else she was smiling at. Every time she said, "I love you," I wanted to ask her what love even meant to her. But I kept quiet, kept watching, kept waiting. She didn't seem to notice anything was wrong. Or maybe she did and just didn't care. Either way, life went on like nothing had happened. On Wednesday, I was under a sink at a house across town when my phone rang. It was Rochelle. "Ben, it's Rochelle. I hope I'm not bothering you." No, I said, sitting up so fast I hit my head on the pipe. "What's up?" "I've just been thinking about our conversation last week. You sounded so worried, and Ben, is everything okay with you and Lily?" I was quiet for a moment, wiping grease off my hands. "Why do you ask?" "Because you said she told you she was going to Atlanta with me, and Ben, I would never. Lily knows I got grandkids. I don't go nowhere without telling my daughter first, and I haven't planned a trip in months." "I know," I said quietly. "You know?" Rochelle's voice got soft. "Oh, Ben, oh, honey, I'm so sorry." "Don't be. Not your fault." "Have you talked to her about it?" "Not yet." "Why not?" "Because," I stopped, thought about it, "because I need to know everything first. If she lied about this, what else she lying about?" Rochelle was quiet for a moment. "You want me to ask around, see if anybody's seen her with somebody?" "No," I said quickly. "No, I don't want to put you in that position, and I don't want church gossip. I'll figure it out." "All right, but Ben, you call me if you need anything at all." "Thank you, Rochelle. I appreciate that." After I hung up, I sat there in that stranger's kitchen, surrounded by pipes and tools, and I thought about my marriage. 25 years. 25 years of what I thought was love, partnership, loyalty. How much of it was real? How much was performance? That night at dinner, Lily was in a good mood, chatty. She told me about her day at work, about a difficult customer she'd dealt with, about a sale coming up next week. "Oh," she said suddenly, "I forgot to tell you, I might need to go on another trip soon. Rochelle's daughter is having a birthday party in Virginia, and she wants me to come along for the drive." The lies just kept coming, easy as breathing. "When?" I asked, cutting my pork chop carefully. "Week after next, just Friday to Sunday again." I nodded. "Sure. Whatever you need to do." She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "You're so understanding, Ben, so patient with me." I looked at her hand on mine, looked at her wedding ring, the simple gold band I'd saved up for months to buy, looked at her face, still beautiful after all these years, smiling at me like I was her whole world. "I try," I said. That night, after she fell asleep, I got up and went downstairs, sat at the kitchen table with a notebook and pen and started thinking. If she was lying about the trips, she was meeting someone. Who? Where? How long had it been going on? I thought about the phone call I'd overheard. The soon, baby. Soon. The way she'd been dressing nicer, wearing expensive perfume, taking better care of herself. I thought about the house. The rent I'd been paying for 15 years. $800 a month. Every month. Never late because I worked myself half to death to make sure we didn't get evicted. Something occurred to me then. Something I should have thought of years ago. In 15 years, the rent had never gone up. Not once. Every other property in the neighborhood, rent had gone up at least twice, some 3 times. But ours, same $800 since we moved in. Mrs. Patterson next door was paying $1,200 now. Started at $850. Mr. Jenkins across the street was at $1,400 for a house the same size as ours. How had our rent stayed the same? I got up and went to the filing cabinet in the corner where we kept important papers. Found the folder marked House Stuff. Inside were receipts for rent payments, all made out to Property Management Solutions. Never met nobody from the company. Never had a number to call except the one Lily always used, and she never let me make those calls. "I'll handle it," she always said. "You're too busy." I stared at those receipts, years and years of them. $800. $800. $800. Who was I paying? Where was the money going? I stayed up all night, daft questions spinning in my head, watching the sun come up through the kitchen window. When Lily came downstairs at 6:30, dressed for work, I was still sitting there. Ben, did you sleep down here? Couldn't sleep, I said. Bad back. She came over, rubbed my shoulders. You work too hard. You need to take it easy. I almost laughed, almost told her everything right then, but I held it in. Yeah, I said. Maybe you're right. I had a week and a half before Lily's next trip. A week and a half to figure out what I was going to do. Part of me wanted to confront her right away, demand the truth. But another part, the part that had been working since I was 16 years old, the part that knew how to be patient and methodical and careful, that part told me to wait. So I made a plan. First, I called James. My son was working construction upstate, married now with a baby on the way. We talked every couple weeks, but this time I had questions. Hey, Pops, he said when he answered. What's up? Hey, son, just calling to check on you. How's Keisha? How's my grandbaby? Growing every day, she's beautiful, Pop. Looks just like her mama. That's good. That's real good. I paused. Son, let me ask you something. When's the last time you talked to your mother? Last week, I think. Why? She mentioned anything about trips? About going places? There was a pause. What's going on, Pops? Something wrong? Just answer the question, son. No, she didn't mention any trips. Should she have? No, just curious. She's been talking about visiting you and Keisha. Wanted to know if she'd mentioned it to you. Another pause. James knew me too well. Pops, are you sure everything's all right? Everything's fine, son. How about Grace? You talked to her lately? Yeah, yesterday actually. She's good, working hard at that law firm. You should call her. I will. Thanks, son. Love you. Love you too, Pops. After I hung up, I sat with what he'd said. So the kids didn't know about any trips either. Lily was keeping her lies separate, contained, smart, real smart. Next, I did something I never thought I'd do. I opened up her laptop. She'd left it on the kitchen counter that morning, plugged in and charging. I knew her password because she told me years ago when she first got it. Never thought I'd need to use it for anything other than helping her print coupons or pay bills. My hands shook as I typed it in. I felt like a criminal, but I needed to know. Her email opened up. Most of it was junk, store promotions, newsletters, church updates. But then I saw a folder labeled personal. My heart started pounding. I clicked on it. Inside were dozens of emails, all from the same person, someone named D. I opened the most recent one. It was from 3 days ago. Can't wait to see you again. These weeks apart are killing me. I know we have to be careful, but I miss you so much. Soon we can stop hiding. Soon we can be together for real. I love you, baby. Always, D. I read it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, the words blurred together. Soon we can stop hiding. Together for real. I love you. I clicked on another email, then another. They went back months, years maybe. Love letters, plans for meeting up, promises of a future together. And Lily's responses were just as bad, worse even. I love you too. I can't wait until we don't have to sneak around anymore. Being with you is the only time I feel real, the only time I feel alive. I slammed the laptop shut, stood up, sat down, stood up again. The only time she felt real, the only time she felt alive, what was I then? What had I been for 25 years? A prop, a convenience, a fool? I paced the kitchen, my hands balling into fists. I wanted to break something, wanted to scream, wanted to run upstairs and pack my bags and leave and never come back. But I didn't. Instead, I sat back down, opened the laptop again, kept reading. Because if I was going to end this, I was going to end it right. I was going to know everything. In one of the older emails from about a year ago, I found something that made my blood run cold. Don't worry about the house, Lily had written. He still thinks we're renting. He has no idea it's mine. I'll tell him eventually, but not yet. Not until we're ready. The house was hers? I read it again and again. The house was hers? I jumped up from the table and went back to the filing cabinet, pulled out every piece of paper related to the house. Receipts, utility bills, nothing with a deed or mortgage papers. Where were the original rental papers? We must have signed something when we moved in. But I couldn't find anything. Just receipts for rent payments made out to that company, Property Management Solutions. I grabbed my phone and Googled the company. Nothing came up. No website, no address, no reviews, nothing. That's when it hit me. There was no property management solutions. There was no landlord. There never had been. For 15 years, I'd been giving my wife $800 a month to rent a house she already owned. I sat down on the floor, right there in the living room, and I couldn't breathe. Literally couldn't catch my breath. She'd been watching me work myself to death, watching me take jobs I hated, work hours that destroyed my body, stress about making rent every single month. And the whole time, the house was hers. How much money had I given her? 15 years times 12 months times $800. I did the math in my head. $144,000. I'd given my wife $144,000 to rent my own house. I thought I might throw up. When Lily came home that evening, I was still on the floor. She dropped her purse and rushed over. Ben, what's wrong? Are you hurt? I looked up at her. This woman I thought I knew. This stranger wearing my wife's face. I'm fine, I said. Just my back. Threw it out. She helped me up, fussing over me, getting me ice and pain pills, playing the concerned wife. That night, she brought dinner to me on the couch, tucked a blanket around me, kissed my forehead. Rest, baby, she said. You work too hard. I watched her walk away and wondered how she could do it, how she could look at me and lie so easily, how she could accept my money, my love, my life, and give nothing real in return. But I still didn't say anything, because her next trip was in 4 days. And this time, I wasn't going to just sit at home and wonder. This time, I was going to follow her. Friday morning came up cold and gray. Lily was already awake when my alarm went off at 5:30, moving around the bedroom getting dressed. You don't have to get up, she said softly. I'm leaving early. Want to miss the traffic. It's all right, I said, sitting up. I'll make you breakfast before you go. Ben, you don't have to. I want to. We went downstairs together. I made eggs and toast while she finished packing. My hands were steady as I cooked, but inside I was shaking. She came into the kitchen with her suitcase, same small bag as before, dressed nice again, makeup done, that expensive perfume. Rochelle must really appreciate you making this drive with her, I said, setting the plate in front of her. Oh, you know, she hates highway driving. I don't mind it. What time you picking her up? Around 7, her place. Rochelle lived on the other side of town, 20-minute drive. I nodded, eating my own eggs, watching her. You okay? She asked. You're quiet this morning. Just tired, didn't sleep well. She reached across and squeezed my hand. You should take it easy today. Don't work too hard. I'll try. At 6:45, I walked her to her car, hugged her, kissed her cheek. Be safe, Ed. Always am. Love you. Love you too. I watched her back out of the driveway and turn left onto the street, toward downtown, toward Rochelle's supposed neighborhood. As soon as she was out of sight, I ran inside, grabbed my truck keys, and headed out. I thought this through. Knew I couldn't follow too close or she'd spot me, but I also couldn't lose her. So I stayed back, kept 2 or 3 cars between us when I could. She didn't head toward Rochelle's. Instead, she got on the highway going south. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. Every mile we drove, I felt sicker. Part of me wanted to turn around, go home, pretend this wasn't happening. But I kept going. We drove for about 30 minutes. She took an exit into a neighborhood I'd never been to. Nice place, real nice. Big houses with manicured lawns, expensive cars and driveways. She pulled onto a quiet street called Magnolia Drive and stopped in front of a house at the end. Beautiful place. 2 stories, brick, with a wraparound porch and flowers everywhere. I parked down the street, behind a van, watching. Lily got out of her car, didn't even grab her suitcase. Just walked right up to the front door like she'd done it 1,000 times before. The door opened before she could knock. A man stepped out. He was tall, well-dressed, handsome, I guess if you like that sort of thing, younger than me by at least 10 years. And the way he looked at my wife, the way she looked at him, I'd never seen Lily look at me like that, not even in the beginning. He pulled her close and kissed her, not a friendly kiss, not a peck on the cheek, a real kiss, the kind of kiss that said they belonged to each other. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. They went inside together. The door closed. I sat there in my truck, staring at that house, feeling like my chest had been cracked open. 10 minutes passed. 20. 30. I should have left. Should have driven away and figured out what to do. But I couldn't move. Couldn't look away. After about an hour, they came back out. Still dressed. Got into a different car, a nice black sedan parked in the driveway, and drove away together. I followed. They went to a restaurant, sat at a table by the window, laughing, holding hands. I parked across the street and watched them eat. Watched her touch his face. Watched him kiss her knuckles. After lunch, they went to a mall. Walked around shopping, his arm around her waist. She tried on clothes while he waited, and when she came out of the dressing room to show him something, he'd pull her close and whisper in her ear, and she'd laugh. I felt like I was watching a movie, like none of this was real. That couldn't be my wife. That couldn't be the woman who stood next to me in a church 25 years ago and promised to love me, honor me, be faithful to me. But it was. It absolutely was. They stayed at the mall for hours, then drove back to the house on Magnolia Drive. I followed again, parking in the same spot. This time, they went inside and didn't come back out. The sun was starting to set. I'd been following my wife for almost 12 hours, and I still sat there, unable to leave. Around 9 o'clock, I called Grace, my daughter, the only person I could talk to right now. "Hey, Daddy," she answered, sounding happy. "I was just thinking about you." "Hey, baby girl." My voice cracked. "Dad, what's wrong?" Nothing. Just wanted to hear your voice." "Dad," her voice got serious. "What's going on?" I couldn't tell her, couldn't say the words out loud because that would make them real. "Just missing you," I said. "That's all." "I miss you too. You sound tired. Are you okay?" "Yeah, just a long day." We talked for a few more minutes. She told me about work, about a case she was working on. I barely heard it. Just let her voice wash over me, reminding me that something good had come from this marriage. After I hung up, I sat there until midnight, watching that house. The lights stayed on. Shadows moved past the windows. I finally started my truck and drove home. Our house. Or her house, I guess. Her house that I'd been paying rent on like a fool. I didn't sleep that night. Just lay in our bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything I'd seen. And I was just getting started. Saturday morning, I was up before dawn. Lily wouldn't be home until tomorrow night, which gave me time to find out everything. I went back to that neighborhood, back to Magnolia Drive, parked down the street again, and waited. Around 9, the man came out alone, got in his car, and drove away. Business clothes, probably headed to work. I waited 15 minutes, then walked up to the house. My hands were shaking as I knocked on the door. I had no idea what I was going to say, no plan, just rage and hurt and a need for answers. The door opened. Lily stood there in a silk robe, coffee mug in hand, and her face went white. "Ben?" She said my name like it was a curse. "Can I come in?" I asked calmly. "How did you?" She stopped, looked past me at my truck parked down the street. "You followed me." "Can I come in?" I repeated. She stepped aside. I walked into what should have been a stranger's house, but felt like I'd walked into another dimension. The house was beautiful inside, expensive furniture, art on the walls, everything clean and perfect and expensive. "How long?" I asked, standing in the foyer. "Ben." "How long, Lily?" She set down her coffee mug, wrapped her arms around herself. 5 years. 5 years. 5 years. "Who is he?" "His name is Devin. He's a financial advisor." I laughed. Actually laughed. "A financial advisor." "Of course. Because you need financial advice, don't you? With all that money you got." Her eyes widened. "What do you?" "I know about the house, Lily. Our house. The one I've been paying rent on for 15 years. The one that's actually yours." She went even paler, opened her mouth, closed it. "How?" I asked. "How long have you owned it?" "Since before we moved in," she said quietly. The room spun. "Since before?" "My parents left me money when they died. A lot of money. I bought the house, thought it would be a good investment, and when we needed a bigger place for the kids, I suggested it." "And you let me pay rent? You let me work myself to death, skip meals, take every job I could find, stress about making rent every month, and the whole time you owned it?" "I was going to tell you." "When? When were you going to tell me?" "After I worked myself into the grave." She started crying. I didn't know how. The longer it went on, the harder it got. I was scared you'd be angry. "Scared?" I was yelling now, couldn't help it. "You were scared? What do you think I am right now, Lily?" "I'm sorry." She was sobbing. "I'm so sorry." Why, I asked. Why do all this? Why lie about everything? Why make me struggle when you had money the whole time? She sank onto the couch, head in her hands, because I liked having it. My own money, my own security. I watched my mother lose everything when my father died, and I swore I'd never be dependent on a man, never be vulnerable like that. So you let me be vulnerable instead. She looked up at me with tear-streaked face. I loved you, Ben. I did, but I also needed to protect myself. And Devin, where's he fit in? I met him 5 years ago. He was helping me manage my investments. We became friends, and then more. Does he know about me? She nodded. Does he know you're still married? That you go home to me every week? Yes. And he's okay with that? He wants me to divorce you, leave you. But I couldn't. The kids, the life we built. The life you built on lies, I interrupted. Everything was a lie, wasn't it? Not everything. She stood up. I do love you, Ben. Maybe not the way I should, but I do care about you. I stared at her. This woman I'd shared a bed with for 25 years, mother of my children now, the person I'd have done anything for. What else? I asked. What else have you been lying about? She was quiet. Lily, what else? I own other properties too, she said finally. 3 more houses, and some stocks, and savings accounts Devin doesn't even know about. How much? Ben, how much money do you have, Lily? A little over $2 million. I actually stumbled, had to catch myself on the wall. $2 million? My parents were wealthy. I inherited everything, and I've been investing it well. While I worked as a plumber, you chose that job. I never stopped you from doing something else, because I was trying to take care of my family, trying to be a man, trying to make sure we had a roof over our heads, and that roof was already ours. It was mine, she said quietly. Not ours, mine. Something in me broke completely in that moment. You're right, I said. It is yours. The house, the money, the other man. It's all yours. I'll be out by the time you come home tomorrow. Ben, wait. No, I'm done waiting, done working, done being your fool. I walked to the door. What are you going to do? She asked. I turned back. I'm going to get a lawyer. I'm going to divorce you, and I'm going to tell our kids exactly who their mother really is. Please don't tell the kids. Why not? You think they deserve to be lied to too? Ben, please. I left without another word, drove home to that house she owned, that house I'd bled for, and I started packing my things. I called a lawyer first thing Monday morning. His name was Edward Rodriguez, came recommended by a friend of James's. I told him everything, showed him the emails I'd printed out, the fake rent receipts, everything. He listened, taking notes, his face getting more and more angry. Mr. Carter, he said when I finished, this is fraud, plain and simple. She defrauded you out of over $100,000. Can we get it back? We can damn well try. The divorce papers were filed that Wednesday. Lily was served at the house while I stayed at a motel. I'd moved out Sunday night while she was still at Devon's, packed everything I owned into my truck and left. She called me 16 times that day, left voicemails begging me to talk to her, to work things out, to give her another chance. I didn't call back. By Friday, the whole neighborhood knew. Mrs. Patterson came to the motel to see me, brought me a casserole and her sympathies. I never liked her, she said. Always thought there was something off. Too perfect, you know? I wish I'd seen it, I said. Love makes us blind sometimes. The hardest part was telling the kids. I called James first. Dad, what's going on? Mom called crying, saying you left her. Son, I need to tell you something, and it's going to be hard to hear. I told him everything. The affair, the house, the money, all of it. He was silent for a long time. Dad, he finally said, and his voice was shaking. Dad, I'm so sorry. Not your fault, son. I should have seen something, should have known. How could you? I lived with her for 25 years and didn't know. What are you going to do? Already doing it. Got a lawyer. Filing for divorce. Good. That's good, Dad. Grace took it harder. She cried for an hour on the phone. Her mother, her hero, the woman she wanted to be like, was a fraud. How could she do this to you? She kept asking. How could she do this to us? I don't know, baby. I really don't know. I don't want to see her. Don't want to talk to her. You don't have to. Not until you're ready. Both kids wanted me to come stay with them, but I told them no. Told them I needed to see this through on my own. The divorce took 4 months, 4 long months of lawyers and court dates and fighting over everything. Lily fought hard. Tried to claim the house should be hers since she bought it. Tried to say I had no right to anything. But Edward was better. He showed the judge the fake rent receipts, the emails, the proof that she'd been defrauding me for years. "Your Honor," Edward said in court, "Mr. Carter worked in good faith to support his family, believing he was paying rent on a home. Meanwhile, Mrs. Carter was collecting that money while maintaining secret wealth and carrying on an affair. This is unconscionable." Lily's lawyer tried to fight back, but the judge wasn't having it. "Mrs. Carter," the judge said, looking at her over his glasses, "what you did to your husband is not just immoral, it's potentially criminal. Consider yourself lucky he's not pressing charges." In the end, I got the house, the one on Sycamore Street that I'd paid for without knowing it. I got half of her other properties, half of the savings accounts, not the ones Devin knew about, but others she'd hidden even from him. She got Devin, I guess, and a reputation that followed her everywhere. The church people stopped talking to her. The neighbors turned their backs. Even her aunt, the one who'd supposedly known about everything, cut her off. I saw her one last time at the final court date. She looked small, tired, older than I remembered. "I'm sorry, Ben," she said as we left the courthouse. "For whatever it's worth, I'm sorry." I looked at her, this stranger who'd shared my life. "It's not worth much," I said, "but I accept it." And then I walked away. That was 3 years ago now. I'm 73, living in that house on Sycamore Street, the house that's actually mine now. No more rent, no more lies. I fixed it up real nice, painted the whole thing, redid the kitchen, planted new flowers in the yard, made it feel like mine. James comes to visit with his family every few months. Grace is talking about moving back to the city, maybe finding a place nearby. My granddaughter calls me every Sunday like clockwork. I'm doing all right. Better than all right, actually. With the money from the divorce settlement, I was able to retire. No more crawling under houses, no more frozen pipes and backed up sewers. I wake up when I want, do what I want, answer to nobody. I joined a men's group at a different church, played dominoes with them every Thursday, started volunteering at a youth center, teaching young boys about plumbing and home repair. Mrs. Patterson still brings me pound cake on Sundays. Mr. Jenkins and I watch football games together. I got a good life. A real life, an honest life. People ask me sometimes if I'm angry, if I hate Lily for what she did. Truth is, I don't feel much of anything when I think about her anymore. The anger burned itself out, the hurt faded. What's left is just nothing, indifference, maybe. She's still with Devin, I hear, living in that house on Magnolia Drive. The kids don't talk to her much. She calls them on birthdays and holidays, and sometimes they answer. Sometimes they don't. I don't wish her harm, don't wish her happiness either. I just don't wish her anything at all. What I learned from all this is that peace don't come cheap. It cost me 25 years of my life, cost me my trust in people, cost me the family I thought I had. But I got it now. Real peace. The kind that comes from knowing exactly where you stand, what you have, and who you are. I'm Benjamin Carter. I'm 73 years old. I'm a father and a grandfather. I'm a retired plumber. I'm a homeowner, and I'm free. If you've been with me this whole time, thank you for listening. Thank you for letting an old man tell his story. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. Tell me if you've ever been through something like this. Tell me how you found your peace. Because at the end of the day, that's all we're looking for. Peace, truth, freedom. And I finally got all three. I thought I had time to figure out my wife was lying to me. Turns out, time had already figured it out. I just had to be willing to see it. These days, I sleep good at night. In my house, in my bed, with my truth. And that's worth more than $2 million or 25 years or anything else in this world. That's the day I learned the truth about my own life. And that's the day I started living it for real. If you love this story, hit that subscribe button. I got more tales to tell. More lessons learned the hard way. More truth to share. Until next time, this is Benjamin Carter signing off. And remember, peace don't come cheap, but it's worth every penny.